Howdy, you're listening to Nobles in the Pinhead.
I love it when that plays, man. That's probably one of the dopest things I've ever heard. You know, man. Yo, what's going on? What's happening? Welcome back, players, hustlers, and grinders. We are back in the Pinhead Studios with nothing to talk about. That's right, your favorite two knuckleheads are here, and we are
serving it up hot.
Per usual. Thank you, Miss Tyler. With me, as always, is my left-hand man, my man 50 Grand. He needs no introduction. He is known as the Pinhead. What's up, Pinhead?
Hey, glad to be here.
Awesome, man. Awesome. You been doing good, bud?
As good as anybody I know, I guess.
Right. Well, that says a lot,
I haven't
man.
heard of anybody like, man, I'm doing great.
You had a pretty big week last week, man. We didn't do a show last week. I know you had a online concert that you guys checked in for.
Yes,
How'd that go?
That was great, man. It was the best one that I've seen so far. They actually did it at a music venue that's set up. The music venue regularly records their shows. Mm-hmm. But the problem I have with the recordings from that place generally is the crowd noise drowns out some of the lyrics and things. Mm-hmm. And this, of course, there was no crowd.
Right.
And so it was awesome, man. It was one of the better ones I've seen.
Who was it again?
Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band, which is funny.
I just love the way you say it.
It's a funny name, and really it's just him, and he plays guitar.
Is he a reverend?
I think he's ordained, but I don't think he really dabbles in it much, you know.
By the end of this episode, I will be ordained.
Yeah, really, anybody can be. But yeah, he plays guitar, and his wife plays a washboard, and they got a drummer, and that's it. That's the whole Big Damn Band.
Nice.
It's just him. But he's really good. Man, he thumps bass lines with his thumb, and then plays leads with the rest of his fingers. So it sounds like they got a bass player too. It's a full sound for three people. It's a cool band.
Nice,
and
man.
their music is unerringly positive.
What was the venue at that you were talking about?
It's somewhere in Indiana is where they were from.
And that's where they're from.
That's where they're from. Yeah,
Okay.
They just did it near where they're at. So, I guess probably their most common venue that they play at or whatever. One where they're real popular, you know.
Got you, man. Got you, man.
That was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So now that we're open back up, man, have you guys had an opportunity to go out, have dinner, drinks, anything fun?
We've had a couple opportunities. We just passed on them, man. I kind of want to see what happens to everybody else.
Well, I went out to Don Juan's. Yeah. And I was just so excited to be out and to have a cold margarita in public.
I hear
you know.
Yeah, we hadn't really gone anywhere. We went Monday, this past Monday, we went down to Lincolnton and stayed with the Barnyard Stompers, a band I talk about a lot down at their place. And Casey made us just a ridiculous Tex-Mex dinner, and we walked all around their property. And
how much property they have?
They got about 2 acres, I think, but then the people around them are cool with them. So we walked a good ways. They got a real nice creek in the back, and that's always.
Did you get to go play with your toy?
We did, yes.
Yeah. It's always fun.
That is fun. And watched a movie and just hung out like friends, you know. Didn't play no music or anything, but
that's right.
Yeah, it was good. Good time.
Yeah, just to let you know, you guys run up in the Pinhead studio. My buddy's got something waiting for you, so it ain't worth it.
Yeah, you hear that noise, man? Don't keep coming.
Yeah, no, I was
talking to my buddy Foz yesterday, and he was telling me that
represent Foz.
Yes, Foz said that he always thought it would be smart if somebody had that noise of racking a shotgun as an app.
No doubt.
Because some people just aren't going to ever own a gun. But if you have that, like if you're a criminal and you hear that and you keep coming.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
Yeah. You know, or you're crazed.
You got a death wish, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was a pretty smart idea.
No, dude, that and the dog about to vomit alarm sound.
Oh, right, yeah.
Has anything ever made you move as fast?
No, and you hear it from any angle.
Oh, you can be dead asleep. I mean, in a drunken stupor, you hear that, and, you know, it's up, man.
Oh, yeah,
it's
up and rolling.
Yeah, I had to run out to Lexington tonight, and I had to stop by and let my puppy out, man, and she acts like she's never seen me every time I come home, which is pretty awesome. You know, she's just like, oh, my God, someone, you're here, you know, and I took her out for a little walk before I came out here, man, and I don't know what, I do know what. I feed her. Like, when I'm eating, she eats, man. Yeah, when I eat, she eats, man, and I'm hoping that I don't go home to a bunch of puke today. Because, I mean, when I took her out, she kind of had that little gag thing going on. She never puked, but maybe it was maybe the excitement or something. She was just all...
We had an accident with Mr. Flibbins.
Mr. Flibbins?
Yeah. Yeah, it couldn't have been Floyd. It had to be his alter ego, Mr. Flibbins. But, yeah, we came home and he had some stomach issues. And it felt real bad, because he doesn't ever make mistakes in the house, and this was... not a solid thing. You could tell, man. And
that was all the worst.
And so we were, and he cowered away from us as soon as we walked in. And we're like, "What the hell?" And then we found out what the hell. But it was like he was, "Don't be mad." We're like, "We're not mad, dude."
Right, dude. You couldn't help it.
And then,
you couldn't go outside.
And then to make us feel worse, we'd got him these new treats, and we'd been feeding him. And the night before, he had a good bit of table scraps too. But they were for his joints. They lube up his joints, and we didn't realize that. And we gave him, maybe 3 of them throughout the night. And then we realized, that might be lubing up everything. So we've gone to a half of one of those every few days and then back to his regular milk bones and pepperoni and all that mess.
Sure, Mr. Flibbins, huh? His alter ego.
Yeah.
The Vegas regular.
Yes. Mr. Flibbins.
Did you tell him that I was interested in coming to visit him at the El Cortez?
Yes, he's excited to have you.
Man, I can't wait, dude. Man, speaking of that, man, I was talking to a buddy the other night, man, and I think, man, we're going to try to make a trip, man, as late as November out there, man. So I'll definitely keep you guys abreast as how I feel when I come back. Maybe, the quarantine order will be gone and everything, but I'm excited, man. I'm just excited to be able to get out and do things, man. Again, I mean, I get it, but I'm just the last few months were pretty boring.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just sitting here talking about a documentary that you watched that I don't think you would have watched had we not been in these uncertain times.
No, that's the truth, man. We were going through, I think this was on Amazon Prime. It's called Finders Keepers. And it's a movie from about 12 years ago or so. And it happened here in North Carolina, in a little town called Maiden. There was this fella that grew up fairly wealthy, and his dad really spoiled him. His dad was eccentric, and he was a pilot and all this, and he ended up crashing while his son was the co-pilot, and the dad died, and the son lost his leg. Well, the son, he's a really eccentric character, extremely country, backwards almost, and he decides he wants his legs. He wants his leg back.
Sure.
And
who doesn't?
Yeah, that's what he said. Who wouldn't? And he said, "I just want my skeletal remains." He talks the hospital into giving it to him, and he goes and picks it up, and it's not skeletal remains. It's the whole bloodied nub, the whole skin, toenails, and it's leaking fluids and just nasty. So, long story short, the guy.
So when they amputate you, they just keep it around for
a period of time, I guess.
Huh.
Yeah.
For cases like this?
I don't know.
I mean,
it's bizarre, man. But it was all over the news around here. When I told
that's why we got the damn coronavirus.
I told Foz about it, and he was like, "I remember that." I remember when it was on the news. And so this guy gets addicted to Oxycontins after his surgeries and everything. He's living with his mother, and he's got this leg, and he doesn't know what to do with it. He wants to get it skeletonized, but everybody's charging too much of a fee for him, and he spends all his money now on drugs. So eventually his mother kicks him out. And he puts all his things in a storage unit. He puts the leg in this grill inside of this smoker. And, of course, all his money continues to go to drugs, and the thing goes into, auction. And this other eccentric individual ends up buying that unit. And this guy, his name was Shannon Wisnett, and all he ever wanted in the world... Wisnett, yeah. Right. Dude, he is a backwards dude, too. You couldn't have picked 2 people to make better television than these guys. And, all he ever wanted in the world was to be famous. Well, when he unloads that storage unit and opens up that smoker, he finds that leg.
His claim to fame.
And he there it is, dude. I'm the foot man. And he's got these. He prints up T-shirts and hats that say "Foot Man." And it's got a picture of this nasty leg sitting on a grill, and he's locally famous. Everybody calls him Foot Man. Well, the guy decides that he would like to have his leg back. The other guy does, and it's a long litigation process. Goes down, and it's a lot of funny arguing between the 2 guys, which was probably the best part of the whole thing, was just how weird these 2 guys are. But eventually, they got a call, and they got somebody wanted to help them out with it. Mm-hmm. And it was...
I was raised in the streets. several times as a kid, but I didn't give up. I went from jail to judge in 15 years. And that's when I began to make a difference, giving back through public service. I believed in myself, and I believe in every single person that comes into this courtroom. I know people can change. Obstacles can be overcome, and great success can be achieved. Because in my courtroom, it's been happening for 10 years.
That's right. Judge Greg Mathis steps in.
That's my dude.
All unlikely people. And you got to watch the documentary to find out how it ends up. But suffice to say, after the whole thing's over, Greg Mathis himself pays for the gentleman who lost a leg to go through a real rehab. He sends him to one like the famous Hollywood guys go to, and
those are the good ones.
And it worked, man.
And when I go to rehab, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, and when this guy, when the documentary was over, this guy was at this point like, I think around 3 years sober. And so it's weird because like this whole story, and Judge Mathis ends up being the one that kind of saves the guy's life, you know. But to find out what happened with the leg, you got to watch Finders Keepers documentary on Amazon Prime.
Nice, man. When I was in my young 20s, I had, toured the country, and I'd gone overseas a couple places and come back in. I wanted to open a bar or a club, and the name of the club was going to be Rehab.
Nice.
Yeah, and
A lot better than the club name I wanted. I was going to open Club Baby Seal.
Club Baby Seal. Missed the opportunity there, but hey, that's funny though. Rehab, man, and every section of the club would have a theme. It'd be like the one step, or you know what I mean, have all these themes, and what was really cool about it was I just imagined people saying, "What are you doing this weekend?"
I'm going to rehab.
There it is. It's almost like the restaurant I wanted to open called I Don't Know, or I Don't Care. That'd be the place where you meet the most women. What do you want to have for dinner tonight? I don't care. Right. I don't know.
That's funny, man. I saw a restaurant that had on their menu, at the bottom of the menu, it was the My Girlfriend's Not Hungry for $4.50, and they added like 2 chicken strips and like a half order of fries and some stuff like that, just so she could eat on your plate and you still got what you ordered.
That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff, man. So let's talk. Where we want to go, man? You want to talk craziness? Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson has announced that he is going to get back in the ring. I think Mike Tyson is, 52?
Yeah, 52 or 53, yeah.
Yeah. He looks good.
Yeah, I mean, he does from the videos I've seen, but, I mean...
Are you afraid of Mike now?
I am. I don't think your top fighters would be.
Yeah.
No, I don't think...
Right.
I mean, the guy, let's face it, man, throughout his entire career, never, ever once proved that he had much of a chin at all.
No.
Everybody that hit him beat him.
Yeah, he's 53, yeah.
Yeah, once the intimidation factor wore off after Buster Douglas, everybody that hit him pretty much beat him, And
that was the key to his success. He didn't get hit early,
right?
And
so now I can't imagine that he has gotten a chin.
Well, I mean,
30 years of inactivity.
In his height, Mike was estimated to be worth about $300 million. Today, he's worth $3 million.
Yeah,
substantial difference, right?
It seemed like it'd be hard to spend that, but I read at one point that he was spending like $200,000 a month just in the upkeep and care for his 3 white tigers.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it.
Well, that's how you do it. Yeah. That's how you do it. Tiger King. Dude. So, I mean, I think this is a money ploy, but, I saw something on PTI yesterday where there was a conversation where perhaps he was going to fight Tyson Fury.
Boo. Man, that seems like a terrible idea to me for him.
I mean, financially, it seems like the best idea for both of these guys.
I got to believe Tyson Fury would be like, yes, sign me up today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Tyson versus Tyson?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, that thing is going to sell. Yeah. How good of a fight is it going to be?
I can't imagine that Tyson could hardly... It'd be a lot like Lennox Lewis. You couldn't hit him in the head.
Right.
He's not tall enough.
Right.
That guy's, 6'6", 6'7"?
Oh, dude, he's a giant.
Or 6'8", maybe?
He's a giant.
Yeah.
He's a giant.
6'8", and Tyson's 5'10".
And Tyson has lost a lot of weight, though, man. Has he put most of it back on?
I'm shocked, because I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that he was talking about any of the top-ranked heavyweights. I heard of guys like... Michael Dokes. I heard Shannon Briggs. Some of these guys that are in their late 40s, early 50s, you know. I think if Mike Tyson tried to fight Tyson Fury, I don't like his chances at all. At all.
I will no. It's. I think it kind of. It's kind of taken a chapter out of the book from Floyd Mayweather and McGregor.
Yeah, it's more of a sideshow than a serious thing.
Well, right. I think everybody in America besides me thought that this was a real fight. I knew there was no chance in the world that McGregor could beat Mayweather.
No, zero chance. And there was also zero chance that it would be exciting.
Right. Well, anybody who's ever... I know I'm a Floyd Mayweather fan. I like boxing. I really like boxing.
I do too.
You know, obviously we don't have any heavyweights, so, you know, when you watch these smaller guys go at it, man, you have to understand the sweet science of boxing, right? And that's what that dude does well. Yeah. When he fought Pacquiao, I remember it very well. Two of our friends were getting married that night, Mike and Sarah.
Right. And
they had it at the Botanical Gardens. I remember watching it up at the Old Hams. And, you know, that was Pacquiao and Brady, Tim Brady. But anyway, that Pacquiao Mayweather fight, I knew it wasn't going to be interesting because Mayweather doesn't get hit. That's not his strategy. His strategy is to score.
Right.
You know, but anyway, back to Tyson versus Tyson. This is something that I saw on PTI, and I just don't see why anybody would pay the $100 that they're going to charge you to watch that on pay-per-view because it's not going to be a good fight.
No.
And there's no way that Mike Tyson can win that fight.
I just think there's no way.
Unless, you know, we're setting America up to see, like, the first actual murder in a ring, which I wouldn't put past Mike. You know, he's already bit a dude's ear off.
Right. Yeah. Barring something just completely insane and outside of the realm and the rules of boxing, I don't see how he could win.
Right. I mean, do we still think Mike Tyson is crazy? Like, you just don't lose crazy because you're 53, right?
Right. I don't think he did that at all. I was talking to my buddy Jason Kelly, who listens to the show every episode, and he was saying that he heard Mike Tyson some 6 months or so ago on a Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about how he doesn't train at all, he doesn't watch fights, he doesn't do any of that, and the reason that he gave was that it made him he didn't like the mindset that it put him in. It made him back to being that person that just wanted confrontation and to be mean and to fight, and so he said in that he hadn't been doing anything, and that was only like, I think Jason said it was like 6 months ago. So I imagine Mike changes his mind fairly quickly.
Yeah. This dude, we're watching something on CBS. There's a boxing match here, and some dude just got drilled. He's done. He's done. Call it a night.
Yeah, he got the noodle leg.
I wonder if this is live.
I don't think so. There's people there.
Yeah. Speaking of that, man, I know you didn't watch the match this week, man, but I'm sure you've heard rumblings about it. If you don't like golf...
I heard people say it was good TV.
It was great TV. First off, it was live.
Right.
It was a game. We can call it a sport, but, you know, golf is more of a game than a sport. But whatever. But it was actually really cool. You know, Tiger had just such a great personality. He was funny. He was witty. Of course, Peyton Manning was his usual self. You know, cracking jokes. And, you know, Phil's a goon. I'm not a big Phil fan, but he's a nice guy. He tries hard. But the most interesting part about it was how human it made Tom Brady look. Oh, that guy can't play golf.
Right.
Oh, I feel like I might be able to get Tom Brady.
Who wins, Tom Brady or Charles Barkley? Is it? Oh, it's like that?
Well, okay. I've never seen Barkley finish a round. I've only seen that crazy-looking shot that he has. However, one thing that I know about Charles Barkley is that he's an ultimate competitor. No, not saying that Brady's not, and that he gambles a lot. And he gambles when he plays golf. So he might have a crazy shot. Jim Furyk had a crazy shot. No one said it worked, and he was on the PGA Tour. At one point, he was a top 5 golfer. He might be able to sneak it around and shoot like a low 80.
So Tom was pretty awkward.
Yeah, dude.
He's not much of an athlete. He's never really been.
No.
You know, he's just a good professional quarterback. Real good.
I'm interested in seeing what this thing looks like in Tampa Bay this year.
Yeah,
you know?
me too.
I,
Me too, man. I saw some kind of simulation that they did on Madden where they were like had made it to 8-0.
well, you know, it's a
Which that
video
means
game.
Nothing, yeah. But
Yeah,
I mean,
on a video game, if the computer don't want you to get hurt, you stay healthy.
Right.
In real life, if they're hitting you, which you know, Jameis Winston will let. I mean, I'm sure Tom Brady at some point has talked to Jameis Winston. That offensive line in Tampa Bay wasn't great.
no.
Whereas if you look at the last 2 decades when he was in New England, he's been surrounded by a great offensive line. And, you know, the best way to throw the ball is from the upright position. That's Cameron Jarrell,
That's true.
you know.
That's true. He's still looking for a job.
Yeah. So I had not an argument, a conversation with a neighbor about Cam Newton's hireability. Let me ask you, Pinhead, what do you think the probability is that if we play football this year, he will wind up with a job?
I think it's a high probability as long as he's willing to take a backup job because I don't see any starting jobs out right now.
You don't think that? So this is where, and again, I'll be honest. I've got my blinders on here, my Carolina Blue goggles on, and I still feel that he is better than 19, 20 starting quarterbacks playing. Now, I know a lot of those quarterbacks that I would say that he's better than are in contract issues that will make them be the starter, right?
Right. Well, and not only that, and a lot of other teams are marked off the list because they have a starter and a fairly highly paid backup, like Chicago.
Right.
You know, they're off the list. I just don't see anywhere where he can go and start right now.
So
except for New England,
right?
And
what
it
I
don't seem like they're going to do it.
What I think is going to happen is, you know, if he gets an opportunity to work out, he'll find a job. But if he doesn't get that opportunity, the first time someone gets an injury to a quarterback, he'll get a phone call.
Yeah, I think he would be. I think he'd be rostered before the season starts if he's willing to. But I don't know what his stance is on that.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't really heard.
Right.
Obviously, he'd prefer to be a starter.
Sure. Well, why wouldn't he? You know.
But I don't know if he's willing to take a backup role. I think it would probably be smart for him. It really worked out for Teddy Bridgewater in a big way.
It did. It did. But there were 2 different injuries.
Oh, they are.
Right? I mean, Bridgewater's injury was a little bit more severe.
Being a backup quarterback's not a bad gig.
No, dude, I want to be a backup quarterback.
Yeah, it's the best gig.
I want to be Tom Brady's backup quarterback 15 years ago.
Right.
And I would tell TB, hey, dude, don't stress it, dude. I'm not here to take your job.
No, I'm here to bring you water.
Hey, guys, whoa. We ain't got to talk about my contract. I like where I'm at.
Right.
You know? Hey, guys, are you guys, talking to my offensive line? Can I get you guys dinner tonight, a massage? I need you guys healthy.
Yeah.
Shoot.
No kidding,
that is the best job in all of sports is it's being that clipboard holder, man.
Yeah, and I think at certain places, Cam could put, even as a backup, could put heat on the starter. Whereas if that team were to stub their toes coming out of the gate, that you'd have a lot of fans really clamoring for Cam to get in. You know,
I think Atlanta's a good place for him. I'd hate to see him go there. Absolutely would hate to see him. It would break my. I think Matt Ryan is about done.
Yeah, maybe so, but how you going? You can't run that Matt Ryan system with Cam Newton. No way.
Yeah, but now they've got a Todd Gurley. They got what's their guy from Florida State? Little running back kid. We like him. Devontae Freeman. You've got a Julio Jones, a Quintores Lopez Jones.
I think Freeman's gone.
Is it?
Yeah, I think he's out of there, man. I think he's looking for work. I'll find out.
Well, that'd be great for us Todd Gurley owners.
I think that's the case, man.
And so it's going to be Gurley and Izzo Smith.
Yeah.
That works well for me. Who do you like to run the ham in L.A.? Do you think Darrell Henderson is going to step up, or?
I'm not sure. Yeah, he's a free agent. Devontae Freeman is.
Wow. I'd like to see Carolina sign him.
Yeah, he's fun to watch, man. I like him. He reminds me of he runs really low like Edgerrin James did, and he's got kind of the build. It's like if Adrian James and Maurice Jones-Drew had a son.
Little mini
Fire hydrant little dude, you know, runs real low, but he's quick, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, I like him a lot. I had him in fantasy for several years, but
I was real high on him out of college.
I can see what you're saying as far as Atlanta being a spot where a starting job could open up more quickly than a whole lot of other places.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have to change their whole system to play Cam Newton.
I mean, yeah, no, I mean,
Cam's not really been successful straight as a pocket passer without at least the threat to run.
well, okay,
At
so
least the threat.
and this is where I get defensive because I say that he's not really been given an opportunity to be a pocket passer. I mean, last year, the year before last, when he was on pace to be an MVP candidate after his first 8 games, he had already taken more hits than any other quarterback in the league, and we had already rotated through like 8 different linemen. Mm-hmm. So that's been our Achilles heel as a team is health, and it's been always on the offensive line. We've always have had injuries on the offensive line. The 2015 year was the only year, I think, what was my guy's name, the center? Jesus Christ, it slips my tongue. He got hurt early that season. That was the only injury he had on the offensive line, and it worked for us, 15-1. Mm-hmm. So,
That's
and that year he passed over 4,000 yards.
Yeah.
And rushed for 800. I mean, you know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's got to have the threat to run, and we just haven't seen that the last few times out. You know,
but
it would be interesting to see a private workout from Cam. You know, the reason I think that it would be bad in a system like Atlanta's is just the sample size that we have of Cam throwing medium and short range passes is fairly great at this point, and it's not just ain't his damn thing, man. You know, he's not as accurate as the average NFL quarterback at those things, and that's a whole lot of what Atlanta's about. You know, they do a whole lot of that, and then they chuck it down to Julio, which he could do that.
Well, he can definitely do that.
He can do that part, but it's so much of that little kind of ball control, little easy, and he's just not. That's not ever been his thing, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, again before he got hurt and missed the second half of the 2018 season, his stats under North Turner were the best in his career. His completion rate was in the 70s, which was his career best. So, you know, again, maybe he was a product of his environment, his tutelage, right? You know.
Yeah, I think most people are to a degree. You know. We'll see about what happens to Cam, man. It'll work its way out eventually. We'll get an answer to that.
I'm rooting for the brother, man. I'm going to be a fan. When we drafted Cam, I wasn't excited about the pick. I thought we should have took Patrick Patterson, kid that went to Arizona. And the reason being, at that time, we had Breeze, Matt Ryan, and Freeman. Remember Josh Freeman?
Yeah.
Freeman. Now, he was tearing it up. He had like 2 great years. Boy, you want to talk about a fall from grace. God almighty, that was such a fluke.
And quick, yeah.
I mean, it was
well, you know, you get some of that, like a Minshew mania and some guys like that. It's like, God, this dude's tearing
There's
it up.
another place that I think that he can have success. I mean, listen, we've seen this a million times where rookie quarterbacks come out and have a ton of success because there's no film on them. Right. Now we've got a year of study, you know, and an off season to review tape. I don't know. I mean, look, I hope Gardner Minshew does well, man. He's fun. Yeah. I like him.
Oh, I do too.
I like him, you know, but I think Cam can do well in Jacksonville. I mean, I can probably L.A.
The Chargers?
The Chargers. The Rams. Jared Goff looked horrible last year. Wasn't the kid that took him to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't. Now, the problem there is the contract.
Right. Right, and that's going to be, we're going to run into that a lot of places.
But, like you said, though, if he's willing to go there, sit, wait his turn, remain healthy, learn the system.
Then who knows what could go down.
So, you know Oakland or Las Vegas.
Yeah.
You know,
I can see some spots. I don't see him my point is just I don't see him as a starting spot for him out there right now.
I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him there. I mean, there ain't a ton of places. You're right. I mean, but
you know, if they have a preseason, Are they going to have a preseason, or are they going to that?
Well, I don't know.
If they have a preseason, you always lose at least one starting quarterback during preseason.
Almost always, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened to him last year. He hurt his foot in the Patriots game. Again, he wasn't protected.
Right.
And a game he shouldn't have been in. You know, after 9 years with the team, I'm okay with my quarterback not playing in the preseason. Mm-hmm. Coming off an injury year?
Right.
Why put him out there?
Yeah. Yeah, the people make questionable decisions and rush guys back and things, you know.
You're either the
I don't
hero
know
or
that-
heel, right?
Yeah, I don't know that that he didn't have some type of falling out situation with Rivera. It didn't seem like. Yeah, I don't know. You know,
Rivera had his back the entire time.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it was David Tepper.
Well, it might have been. It wasn't
I
his
think
guy.
David Tepper didn't really feel Cam, and I thought that. I mean, what about Pittsburgh?
Oh yeah, I mean,
What about Pittsburgh? I mean, Big Ben. Look, everybody knows if Big Ben is healthy and he's on the field, he'll make a freaking play, right?
That's a fact.
I mean, but they're kind of very similar.
Yeah, I could see that. I think they were, pretty happy with the kid that they drafted that came in after Ben got hurt, and then it sort of soured on him.
Yeah.
But I don't know how happy they still are with that kid. If they're thinking
They're
about
not.
giving him a deal or what.
No, they're saying Ben's their guy.
Oh yeah, no, I think Ben's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
But I don't know how happy they are as far as what they think about his future. If they're thinking about investing in him, if they are, then that probably would take him out of it.
Right.
But maybe they're not. Maybe they're thinking.
What a fucking hell of a draft class, man, that was for quarterbacks. Big Ben, Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning. And you're talking about 3 Hall of Famers.
That's true, man.
Yeah. Never really been a big P. Riv fan, but I think he'll do pretty well in Indianapolis.
Seemed like a good fit.
Yeah, I think he'll do really good. I think it's really funny, though, man. Frank Wright was, Jacoby, that's my guy.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
Right.
No, that's her guy. He's the future.
Not so much.
A man's word ain't nothing anymore, huh? Yeah, man. So I'm excited, man. If we play football this year, man, I've been actually doing a little studying, looking at depth charts, because I'm in dire need of running backs in the awful.
Yeah.
The 44s
Yeah.
gonna need somebody to push the peel, baby.
I can certainly use some help at running back too, man. We'll find it.
Yeah.
I've got some guys. I watch a whole lot of college football, so there's some guys that I've been looking at some real early fantasy lists, and
Yeah, I got my
there's
eye
some
on the
guys
guy.
that some rankings I certainly don't agree with.
I don't. Yeah, I got to.
There's a couple guys that are down a little bit lower that I'm like, man, that guy's a player.
I'm gonna have to go running back first 2 rounds.
No, that's not unusual.
I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
I took a flyer on Mozart.
Man, he could be big, man.
He's young,
I think they're going to be good.
dude. I've been following him on the Twitter.
Yeah, I think the 49ers are going to be good.
Dude, he has been working his ass off right now, dude. I mean, he's saying that he's trying to he wants to win 300 carries.
Right. Well,
I mean, and he's been a gym rat, man. And one thing I can say about these uncertain times, man, if you do have Twitter and you follow any of these athletes, man, some of these cats are real. There's nothing else to do.
yeah.
So,
They just
we
work
talk
out.
about Cam. Like, I follow Cam. He's got a YouTube channel. The dude looks amazing, but Mozart looks pretty good, too. So, I mean, I'm hoping he's going to be RB1 for the 44s.
Yeah. I got a little good news earlier this week because, I got David Johnson. They moved Carlos Hyde. So,
I saw that.
yeah, that made me feel better.
I saw that.
With Johnson and Gurley, I could be potentially very old and really in need of running backs. Or I could potentially finish the year with 1 and 2. I mean, potentially. It's David Johnson and Todd Gurley, and they're not old. They've just been hurt up and, different things.
Yeah.
So,
No one has ever said what is wrong with Gurley, though. I mean, right? I mean, we hear there's all these little suspicions of what could
the
be
coaching
wrong.
staff says there's nothing wrong with it.
Nothing.
Then why do you give him a damn ball?
In the fucking Super Bowl. I mean, the dude only had over 20 freaking touchdowns that year.
Yeah, that smells fishy. Always
But
has.
nobody has ever said anything about him.
No. But I guess you would think that if you're going to spend the money that the Falcon spin on him. They had a team doctor really go over it. You would think. So they felt confident enough.
Man, listen, he's going back to the A. He's going to be running on turf. I'm excited to see how they. I mean, listen. You put that type of money into him, you got to utilize him. Save him for what?
Right. What do you think? What do you think of the chances are of David Johnson being a top 12
I think
fantasy running back?
I think they're very good, and I'll tell you why. There's no nuke in that offense. Somebody's going to have to step the hell up. And we know he can catch the ball out the backfield. He did that very good.
And I think even without Nuke, it's not going to be the situation where you have a team that can't pass. And so you just load up on the running back.
Right.
Because Deshaun Watson can pass.
Oh, no, he can pass.
Yeah. So, I don't think it's going to be that situation. So I think Johnson, and if you finish in the top 12, you're a 1.
You're a 1, right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So I think there's a decent chance of that.
I agree. I mean,
But-
the problem with
maybe it's
Houston
a
was
pipe dream,
never
too.
offense.
No.
I mean, they had a couple blunders, but what team doesn't, right?
Right.
It was defense. They couldn't stop water from running. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was their problem. I mean, they couldn't stay healthy on that side of the ball. They invested a lot in Jadeveon Clowney, J.J. Watt. Speaking of J.J. Watt, did you watch the Ultimate Tag?
No.
Oh, you got to watch the Ultimate Tag. I want to play. God, I want to be 20 again. I want to be 21 and play the Ultimate Tag. It's this
It's a game of tag on like an adult gym, like an adult jungle gym.
Yeah, it's like mazes and all of this stuff. It's really cool, man. It's very physical and fun looking. I want to play. But JJ and his brothers are hosting it. But I mean, that kid, and then Brian Cushman, he got banged up. I mean, they just had a ton of injuries, so.
They did. So we'll see. There's a lot of pressure on Houston this year too, and I think David Johnson, from what I know about him, I think he should play with a pretty massive chip on his shoulder.
So in the awful, let me ask you this: who's going to take Teddy Bridgewater? Is there? You think Dawn?
Well, Dawn, she hasn't really been that much of a homer that I can remember. As far as
there's always a homer in every
just picking your favorite
league.
team. Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know that he wouldn't be a decent pick. If you're as a quarterback too.
I'm scared. I'm scared to touch anything Panther wise.
Yeah.
I am. Dude. I don't know enough about this offense that we're going to run.
Well, it could be. I don't know, man.
I'm scared for Christian McCaffrey, man.
It could really be a down year for him if teams don't respect the running game. The passing game. If they don't respect the passing game, yeesh, it makes it tough on the runner, man.
I'm rooting for Teddy B. Two glove.
He's always been. I like Bridgewater since he's been in the league. He just had a
rough
catastrophic
go, man.
injury, man.
Well, his rookie campaign wasn't horrible.
No, he had a good rookie year.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And then the next year's the year he got hurt, and then they shipped him up out of there.
Yeah, well, that injury was gnarly,
It
man.
really was.
It was one of those kind of Alex Smith deals, man. I remember there was talk about him losing his leg for a short time, and stuff like that. Like, it was bad. So I enjoyed watching him with the Saints last year.
Yeah. Well, he looked great. Those 5 games, he looked great.
He's a pretty accurate passer. And,
no, he's a good. Listen, I don't have anything negative to say about him as a quarterback.
Right.
I really actually liked the kid. I liked him when he was in ACC.
Right.
Wouldn't have mind seeing him at the Panthers had there not been the whole Cam thing there.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried though. With the sample size we've seen since he's been injured, it's only 5 games.
Yeah.
I can't remember the 5 teams that they played, but I do remember saying during the season they hadn't beat anybody with them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they beat the Browns and the Texans.
But they didn't lose to anybody.
They did not. And he progressively got really good.
Mm-hmm.
No, he really did. I remember the first game. I've got Mike Thomas in the BDFL, and the first game that he played, Mike only had like maybe 3 catches. It was like the worst game that he had all year long.
Oh, I remember that.
But then instantly after that, they connected.
Yeah.
And I was pretty
I got Mike
impressed.
Thomas, and I remember that. And when you say it, it was like I was really worried. I was like, oh God.
Right. He don't recognize the talent that he
is he
has.
going to be? And then after that, Thomas didn't skip a beat.
No, he
was
didn't.
he's a dominant force right now.
Almighty.
He's got the most catches ever this deep into a career, and it's by a good bit.
By a great bit.
Yeah, he's something else, man. That was a really good scout because they didn't take him super duper high coming out of Ohio State. They did a good job on that. You know,
they got him in the first round late.
Yeah. And he's the best receiver that was in that draft.
By
he's
far.
the best receiver in the league, arguably.
I mean,
you can make an argument.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he's one or two.
Yeah.
Depending on how you look at it, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of receivers, man, we talk about AB again.
What's he been up to?
My man AB
I'm glad that we've had a few shows without him.
Well, he's back. And my man AB,
I imagine this is a sunny story, though.
He is
of him
back.
doing something brilliant.
He's back, man, and he actually enrolled himself into college, man.
Whoa.
Yeah, man, good for him.
Where he was going?
It was out in I want to say California. I can't remember the college.
Well, good for him, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in true AB fashion, he posted on Twitter that he needed someone to take a test for him. Being that it's all virtually done online. Yeah.
Oh, this gentleman.
Yeah. Do you think that dude will ever play in the league again?
No.
No?
No, I don't. I wouldn't. It'd take a real certain special kind of GM.
Yeah.
Because he's not on my radar if I'm an NFL GM. Especially if I have any semblance of chemistry in the locker room right now.
Such a waste of talent.
Yeah.
Arguably, he has the work ethic of a Jerry Rice. No one ever questions his work ethic, his football IQ. It's everything else.
Everything else.
You know, and
he doesn't seem to understand that.
That dude jerked off $40 million last year, dude.
Yeah.
Threw
it
nothing.
out the window. Yeah.
Dude, $25 million away guaranteed with Oakland on a team that took a flyer on him.
Right.
All right. Nobody else wanted to touch him. He had a great thing going in Pittsburgh. Great thing going. Couldn't get along with his quarterback. The guy who gave you your name. He was a 6th round pick.
Yeah, he's never caught a touchdown from anybody other than Ben.
Right. Put you on the map. But he's come out and apologized and said, he can kind of see now that he's being immature. But I think a lot of
How old is Antonio Brown?
Antonio Brown has to be, I would say maybe 31.
Well, if you're not mature at 31, was he waiting on his 40s? Yeah, you can't. There's certain things.
He's 31.
You gotta know. At some point, there's certain things you can't do, you can't say. Just doesn't society teach you that after 31 years? God.
He
needs somebody to take a test for him.
Yeah.
Did they kick him out of school?
I hadn't heard that yet.
He should certainly face academic violations, right?
Well, he's been working out with Minka Fitzpatrick here of late.
Is he real smart?
Minka?
Yeah.
Well, listen.
Smart enough to take a test.
But
and we may have a suspect, is what I'm saying.
Minka finished college, didn't he?
I don't know.
I think he did. Oh my God. Now, it's so sad to see that talent being sidelined, man. Again, he ran a 4.40 in the combine.
It does. One thing that it's going to do when history looks back at the whole Antonio Brown thing is it's going to shine just a lovely light on Mike Tomlin. He's looking like wow. How in the world did you keep that together and have so much success?
As long as you did.
Right.
You're a freaking saint.
Right.
You're a freaking saint. The only guy who could shut your mouth finally was like, you know what? I can't even do it no more.
Yeah. Can't have
I can't even do it no more.
Yeah, you're out of it.
And then
at the point, he's the best receiver in football.
Oh man.
Or arguably.
Dude, the dude goes to New England and instantly picks it up and look great.
Yeah.
Look great.
It's always, to me, seemed like his time was so limited there. Like it was going to be.
And jerked that off. And all he had to do was not text the person accusing you.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem...
The person that has a restraining order again.
Right. That doesn't seem hard to do.
No, it doesn't.
Like you could have not done anything. Like all you had to do was chill and you group text her.
Yeah.
With witnesses? But it doesn't really matter. Once you text somebody, it's the one thing I try to explain to my daughter. Once you send it, it's there.
Yeah.
You can erase it from your phone and say, no, I didn't. It's on her phone. Even she erased it. It's still there on the top. Like, you can't get over that.
Right.
This kid is not smart. Where did he go to college? Let's look that up. I don't want... The reason I want to see that, because if one of my children say they're going there, I want to stop them immediately.
Right. Yeah, he's a strange case, man. Every now and then you get a guy that's just a head case, and just
Central Michigan.
Okay.
You know, the funny thing about that, man, I actually know a defensive back coach for Central Michigan.
Yeah.
My good friend Chris Hoop, man, married. I don't know if you ever remember these guys. They came in the tavern a few times. The one girl was friends with Ashley Dominique, kind of tall, Hispanic girl, real pretty. Anyway, they ended up getting married or whatever, and I met her father at their I was in their wedding. I met her father. He's a coach at Central Michigan, and now that I think about it, he actually we talked about AB, and he said he wasn't an asshole then.
Yeah. Well,
So-
money changes people.
Well, I was gonna say, so there goes that, dude. That kid was a 7-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first team.
If he had the numbers that he has, respectively, at a different position, he'd be a Hall of Fame.
No doubt.
But it's just not enough at receiver.
Led the league
That's
in
how it is.
receiving yards 2 years. Led the league in receptions 2 years. Led the league in receiving touchdowns 1 year. In 2000, he made the All-Decade team. He was a 2-time All-American college. He was a 2-time All-Conference player in college. He was also a 2-time special team player in college. I mean, the kid was a beast. He had 841 yards in his career there in Pittsburgh, over 11,000 receptions. He had 124 yards rushing, 3,000 return yards, and 80 touchdowns.
The Hall of Fame lately has started to look a little more favorably upon wide receivers.
Yeah.
But I still think that his off-field actions, are could potentially keep him out. I remember.
You can't just let
Art
any
Monk-
asshole in there, right?
Right. Art Monk didn't get in until the last balloting before he would have had to take like a 10-year break before he could go on.
But he wasn't a diva like that. I mean, he was a diva, but he wasn't
No.
that.
No. Art Monk didn't say anything. I was disgusted at Art Monk wasn't in. When he retired from football, he had caught more passes than anybody in the history of the game. He'd won 3 Super Bowls catching passes from 3 different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like, how is that guy not a first ballot?
Ripken,
Doug Williams
Doug Williams,
and Theismann.
and Theismann. Thank you. Theismann was the first one I was going to say.
Yeah, it's the guy was incredible, man, and the league the Hall of Fame just seems to not value receivers.
Yeah.
like a lot of different, like they do different positions,
Right. Well, now, I mean, if you look at the way that the game has transitioned, that's what we're watching now, right? We're watching run to the Buick and freaking, hit the post, and then I got you. We were slinging because you can't play defense anymore. You can't hit the quarterback anymore.
Right. I'm glad. Didn't you say something about them doing away with the instant replay? Is that for everything or just the?
No, just the pass interference.
Yeah. Well, that was a fiasco last year. A failure.
I think that was the
failure.
NFL's way to say New Orleans, we're sorry.
Yeah, and it was the NFL referee's way of saying screw you. We're not going to follow that.
I think they only overturned like a handful.
Oh, just a very few.
I can't remember what week.
There were several of them that
can't-
when you're watching a
right.
replay, like, well, good Lord, of course. And they come back like, no,
I think we were in week like 8, 9, or 10, and at that point they had overturned 2 of them.
Right.
One of them happened to be the Panthers at that point. I don't remember the game, but it was like
No, it's basically the officials saying, no, we're not going to do that.
Right. Which, again, you got to have human error in this game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes the game the game.
Yeah.
I mean, dude,
It's been in every sport in my life. I mean, it didn't bother me.
no.
I mean, sometimes you get screwed. You
Right.
think about my favorite teams, different games, where it's like, especially basketball, like tournament games. Because every year you kind of remember the game you got beat, and there were several. It was like, man, we got whistle whipped in that
Right.
game. Like, that was ridiculous. Or even come down to one real bad call
Right.
late.
Right.
And you're like, God almighty, that's a terrible call.
Right.
But I don't advocate being able to go to the replay to see if it were a block or a charge.
Sure.
Like, I don't advocate replay in basketball at all for
Dude,
anything.
well, first off, we've talked about this on numerous occasions, and the game that I think where it really, really ticked me off was Duke, Carolina. last year. Oh my! The game, it was a great game. First off, let's start off by saying that, right? Both teams brought their A game, but my God, the officials did everything they could to control the freaking momentum in that game. It felt like.
I was watching that with our buddy Cameron Miller and old Juicy Bruce.
Oh, Juicy Bruce, shout out.
And he was sitting there on the couch. I was over here, and I jumped up. I was mad as a damn hornet. Just like, what in the hell is going on? Like, play basketball, you know?
Right.
As much as I like Duke, I like basketball better.
Sure.
And it was just killing me. It was like, this is the highlight of every ACC season is when these two play, and you're destroying it. And it hit me as I'm ranting and screaming, just literally screaming at the top of my lungs in here. He's not, Cameron's sitting there, and I don't know if I scared him or what, but he wasn't saying much, and I'm just hollering. It was like, it hit me. I was like, you know what make me even madder? And he was like, what's that? I was like, if I was pulling for the other team. You know, because all it was doing was icing that kid at the line at that one point.
Oh, my God.
Play tech or whatever.
Fucked us, dude.
No,
it was the worst thing. And he came out and airballed.
Yeah.
The dude, like, career, like, 82% from the line, and goes out there and throws up an airball at home.
Yeah, I'm with you.
At home.
I'm totally with you.
Home.
It was awful.
Sir.
Oh.
And I still don't know what they were reviewing.
Oh, no.
They never said anything. Hey, guys, we stopped the game. I don't know, man. Basketball does not need listen. You want to replay something like where the foot was at on the line or whatever? It's worked out great in the past where next dead ball, we go back, we review it, and his foot was on the line. It was 2. It was behind the line. It stays as 3. Other than that,
you can do that if there's a dead ball on the very next possession. You know,
well, that's what I'm saying.
But but you can't do that and come back and say, well, that was a 3 after the other teams had their possession. Because they're like, well, we would have done something different if we knew it was a damn 3.
I mean, but we're not stopping the game. Next dead ball. Well, that's how they've done it in the past, though. The next dead ball, they review, they make. I mean, you've seen that before, right?
That's fine with me. That's fine with me.
But other than
during
that,
the first half and maybe the first half of the second half.
Right, but then what's the alternative?
I don't like that
if there's a dispute about.
I think you just go with what the official called.
Well,
Did he raise his hand
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm okay with that.
I think the officials in basketball do a pretty good job.
If you let the officials officiate the game from start to finish, the calls will even out.
Yeah, generally they do. You know, I think that they miss the block charge call a whole lot.
Well, that charge is hard. I mean, that call is fucking horrible.
It's hard to make, and it's.
Right.
I think that I really think that at least 75% of them are blocks.
Sure.
You know.
Sure. Someone's always moving, right?
Right.
Right.
And this is coming from a Duke fan. We had Shane Battier.
Oh, dude,
you know what
the
I mean?
king of flop.
Yeah. But he really was great at drawing charges too.
He was a fucking genius.
Yeah, and but no, I've always thought that. Just like that's not, man. He's not fully set like it's intended. You know, it's intended just to keep you from being there and a dude just bowling you over.
Not like sliding in front of me at the last minute.
Right.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit. D me up. Stop me. If I got an opportunity to take the lane and you dive in my way,
yeah.
Seems like you blocked me.
Yeah.
Regardless if you got there first. I mean, the intent was there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
but,
I've always thought that too, man. That just. I don't know, but in general, I think they do a real good job.
Yeah, they do.
You know, I mean,
I think the ACC officials hurt us though when it comes to tournament time.
Well, they make us play a little soft.
That's what I was going to say.
They should swallow the whistle a little bit more.
Right. That's what.
But again, if you get in a game against another team or another conference, and you got ACC officials,
then you're fucking awesome.
You're in good shape. Yeah, they're all gonna foul out.
Right. Yeah, but I don't think they do us any favors, man.
It doesn't, man. It really doesn't.
Speaking of basketball, the NBA is talking about hosting the NBA playoffs down in Disney World, Orlando, Florida.
Have at it, man.
Yeah, man. So right now they hadn't really come to an agreement on what they're going to do, but the way it looks is that they're going to stop the season at 65 games, and the teams that were set to make it will make it. The teams that weren't won't. But what it really screws up is, I mean, you had 17 more games, and there were teams like Portland who was a half game out, 1 game out, and
Well, didn't the Pelicans still have a shot?
right.
And, that was good TV.
Right.
Everybody wanted to see the Pelicans.
Right. Well, shit. Why not?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that kid from down the way, man. What's not to like?
We watched his career highlights the other night.
Well,
and it was
I bet you that was fucking fun.
dunk. It was real fun. It's like this guy, man. Good grief. There just hasn't been a Zion Williamson. You know, I'm not saying he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He's just something different.
Wait, no,
He's something different.
He's a 300-pounder who fucking attacks the rim like he's damn a freaking 3. You know?
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's got
an explosive 3, a 3 that can jump higher than most 3s.
Right. I mean,
there were a couple of the things that I took from watching that the most. There were a couple blocks that he had last year that were like good.
No
God,
doubt.
Who can do that?
No doubt.
I'd miss out on that. That would be one of the things I'd be most looking forward to is to watch him if the NBA cranked up. And if he weren't in it, then that would be a slight bit of disappointment. I'd still watch the games, you know.
Right. Well, I would think, man, you know, just hearing some of the players talk and whatever, I think they should do a tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, screw the original playoff format. Listen, nothing about this season is normal, right? Let's do a tournament. Maybe the Eastern Conference top 4, Western Conference top 4 get a bye.
How about not? How about the top 8?
And then have
the top 8
regardless.
Get a bye. And
then okay.
And so you could have 6 Western Conference teams.
Sure.
You know, I mean, just do it. Just do away with the conferences.
That'd be fun
and
too.
The divisions. Just okay. We're going to take the top 16 teams.
Sure.
You know, and run it like a
sure. Even maybe stretch it out to have a couple play-in games.
Because I think if you did that, I think you would get the Pelicans in.
Sure.
Because the Eastern Conference, I think toward the bottom, they're not as strong as the Western at the bottom.
Eastern Conference sucks.
Right. But you still get several Eastern Conference.
Oh no, well you're gonna get some in because I mean the Eastern Conference isn't as loaded.
Right.
The Western Conference historically has always just been the better conference from top to bottom. That doesn't mean they always win the championship.
Yeah.
But I mean
the East has just been dominated by powerhouses, you know.
Well, that's very true. I mean, you know, we talk about the Last Dance, and you saw what the Bulls did, and you know, every year that you watch them make their run to the championship, they were facing someone different, but they were always there. Mm-hmm. But then you look at the West Conference final. I mean, it was just kind of just stagnant. I mean, like it was just the same old. The Western Conference final Western Conference has always had the better teams, top to bottom.
Yeah, I would say so. The Eastern's always had a bunch of really dog teams, you know.
Yeah. The fucking Hornets are one. I'll never forget. I went to a playoff game back in the early 2000s. Adam Plyler.
Who was on the roster at this point? Was this a Baron Davis?
This was a Baron Davis, Glenn Rice team.
Gotcha.
Oh, it was a great team, man. We was playing Jesus Shuttleworth back when he was a Timberwolf.
Wow.
And it was Game 6, man. And this was when they were in the old Hive off 77.
Was Leitner still a Timberwolf?
I don't know, man.
Probably not by then.
I don't remember. I just know Jesus was there. Ray Allen, you know. My dad's from Connecticut, so I've always been partial to UConn. UConn wins, it makes me kind of happy, you know, unless they're doing something to my boys. But whatever.
It's their women's team. I can't stand them.
It's unfair, right?
I can't stand them. I can't stand. Gino Auriemma is my least favorite person in sports. And has been for years. I can't stand him.
Elaborate.
I hate everything about him. I hate his slick back ways. I hate his but there's other concrete things, man.
No, I'm with you. That was funny.
I hate his attitude overall. But what really made me hate him was how he used to attack Pat Summitt and just go at her and just talk all this shit about Pat Summitt. It's like, dude, without Pat Summitt, you'd be paying UConn to coach this girls' team. You wouldn't be getting a check. There wouldn't be any eyes on women's college basketball at all if it weren't for Pat Summitt. Right. And you're going to just attack her. Plus, you're a guy coaching women, and you're so smug about this record, all these records we've got. Well, in my mind, you've not won a game yet. You've not coached a man's game yet. And when Calhoun left, they were still a powerhouse. That's your chance. If he wanted that job, he would have taken it right then.
Had opportunity.
He absolutely did. And they were coming off Final Fours and things like that. It was a powerhouse program. And he didn't want anything to do with it. I think Pat Summitt's records count up just equal with the men. She was a woman coaching women, a man coaching men. This dude, in my mind, hasn't won any games. Much less 140 in a row or whatever that record was that they had. I can't stand him. It just comes off. If he were humble, it'd be a totally different thing. It would be,
sure.
but he's not.
No, he's got that whole freaking up north swag.
Come on down and coach against and recruit against Roy and Kay and Calipari and see how easy that is. See if you get the top. Yeah. See if you get all the top 5 players in the country like you do now.
Sure.
See, I'm betting you don't.
I'm sure he won't.
You know, and so that's basically my take on Gino Auriemma. I just never liked him. I think he cares about the girls in his program and things like that, but that's enough for me to not like it.
Okay.
So hey, I defended that fairly well.
Hey, man, there was your dark cloud, baby. That was dark cloud. I ain't spotted one of those. I guess we've been in a dark cloud for the last
I felt
several
like
weeks.
We needed something different, man.
We might need a silver lining next week.
Yeah, we very well may. I had a crazy thing happen to me. You know, everybody's searching for entertainment. And so I found this, Nintendo has made these little bitty consoles that come preloaded with all
the games, right?
Right,
right.
So I found one, and it was super cheap, and I looked it up, and it was a Chinese ripoff, right? But I ordered it anyway. So it's got 621 games, and we had the most fun ever the other night. We were going down, there's these games, and some of them were really poorly translated. You know, like it was Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Yeah, stuff like that. One of my favorite was Three-Eyed Boy. You know, and a lot of them were just straight Chinese games. That the writing's in Chinese, or they were like kids games where just a balloon's falling down and you got to stand under it and catch it, just or whatever. Mm-hmm. And but then there were a few like Excite Bike was really Excite Bike, sure. And then there were a lot of like Mario games, but it never said Mario. But they did. But they did.
Y'all play Road Rash?
No. But this game, it looked just like Mario Brothers, and it was like laid out the same. Remember how it starts when the little thing comes up and all that. But it never says Nintendo anywhere, so it's like this huge knockoff. Well, so we're going through and looking at the games that I know, or the ones that I can decipher what I think they mean. It is, you know, like Blade Runner. I'm like, well, that's probably Blade Runner, and I was like, just for shits and giggles, just click on. There was one that was like Captain Yamashito. I was like, click on that. And we clicked on it. It was the Rambo game, which the Rambo game was super fun. And I was like, well, damn, now we got to go and look at all these crazy name things.
Because you never know.
Because it might be something. Yeah, we just laughed at that fact. We're like, How
much did you pay for this?
$35.
That's just fucking awesome.
Yeah, you know. I mean,
God bless the China.
Yeah, right. The best thing was that it had the original Nintendo ice hockey. Do you remember that where you could pick the skinny guy, the medium guy, or the fat guy?
I do.
And the fat guy would flatten people. And, Oh, and that was so fun. And you could start when you approach each other, start hitting A, and then they'd fight. It'd be a bench clearing brawl. Yeah. And I forgot about that.
Did y'all play Tecmo Bowl?
We haven't got to that yet. It's called Teco Bowl. Teco Bowl. That's what it's listed at, but we haven't clicked on that to see
I wonder
what
they call Bo Jackson. I wonder if he's unstoppable in their version. Because in the real version,
yeah, he was.
If you brought freaking the Raiders, dude, all you had to do was run Bo Jackson all 3 of your downs. You were going to score. Yeah. There was no need to do anything else.
No, right. Yeah, we ended up banning the use of the Raiders.
Right.
And the 49ers.
And the 49ers.
The 49ers.
Montana, my cousin Malcolm. I mean, this phrase haunted me as a kid. Montana to rise! No, right. Montana to rise! You couldn't stop it.
Well, another thing, too, was they had a really good running game.
Roger Craig.
But they had
Marcus Allen.
Or that, Rathman.
Yeah.
Craig Rathman, that big
Rathman,
white
number
fullback.
44, right.
Yeah, and you could if you hit the hit button, he'd flatten people. And just, he could chug. I had some 80-yard runs with him where like 10 people tried to hit him.
Right, you can't drag him down, yeah.
But then you could always throw it to Rice. You know, it was like, yeah. So we ended up, I think those were the teams that we didn't. But this whole thing was just so funny, man. Some of the games were so ridiculous. But like Contra is really Contra. One thing about it, though, is you can't save it. It won't save. Yeah, so whatever. But
so basically, all it is a hard drive with emulations on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it doesn't say Nintendo anywhere on the damn thing. The little console.
How much is I know Nintendo makes the
right. They do, but it doesn't have nearly that many games. I think there's a version that has 21 games, and there's another that has 30. from what I've been able to see online, and I'm gonna try to find one of those.
Nintendo, you cheap fucking bastards! You stopped at 30.
Yeah, they stopped.
I mean, you made a million fucking
Mario
games.
Kart wasn't even one of them.
Like, Jesus Christ! I mean, I mean, if we sit back here and named our favorite Nintendo games, man, this thing probably could take on another freaking hour here, right? I mean, I can go on and on and on and on and on.
I can go on like that about Atari.
Sure.
For God's sakes, you know, but
Pitfall.
Oh, Pitfall. Pitfall is great, man. Pitfall and Frogger.
Frogger was the heat, man.
And then some of the worst games of all time, like Atari E.T.
Yeah.
Or Adventure.
Yeah.
Adventure was great, though, and a hilarious, just bonk, bonk, into different rooms.
I played Frogger.
Frogger's fun, man.
On an advanced system. What was it? Maybe Sega? Ooh. They tried to remake it, and they tried to, 16-bit graphic, and it was horrible. It wasn't as cool. It was like, Frogger was cool because it was just like, it is what it is. It's like, bonk, bonk, you know what I mean? And then you try to, make it look all cool, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, so this thing that I bought, it's not something that we're going to play with for a long time, but it's fun for a few days.
Well, it needs uncertain times.
Right, yeah. It's worth a laugh, man, you know. Three-Eyed Boy was really fun, though.
Three-Eyed Boy.
Yeah, it was all in Chinese, and you're a little guy with a big round head, and you've got 3 eyes, and the middle eye shoots other flaming eyes out at people.
Oh.
And it's a side scroller like Super Mario. You one button shoots stuff out your eyes, one button jumps. And there's only 2 buttons.
Right.
So there it is.
You're going to hit or miss, right?
Yeah. But so you guys, if Nintendo actually does make one of these, they're a lot harder to find, and but they're a whole lot better than the Chinese ripoff. But that being said, they're a whole lot more expensive too. And for the $35 that we spent,
it's been well worth it.
Yeah, and we've still got 400 games.
Did it come with 2 joysticks?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
And but we've still got over 400 games that we got to look at to see what it is. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man. I mean, man, it's crazy, man, how video games have evolved from
they left me behind in a way.
You can fit 600 games and a 8x8 box.
Way smaller.
Right.
Half that.
Right.
Yeah. It's amazing, man.
And remember back then the cartridges were at least 4x5. You know.
Yeah.
Like 8-track.
That's why I told Rachel. I said, "Look, man, you have no idea how much room a Nintendo and 621 games would take up."
I mean, the cases were bigger as they're like VHSs, you know.
Yeah, this whole thing was like maybe 4.5 or 5 inches, and rectangle not even that wide, and then about that tall, just not.
So you can get emulators online. You can download emulators online and download a bunch of different games. I think it'll work out the same, whereas you can't save.
Right.
But I think now, because the technology in video games is way superior than what it was when we first started, most of those games can be beat within, I don't know, you sit down and have a couple hours at it, you probably can beat a game.
Yeah, that's true. And it has some fun games where back when you just played a game, like it was 2-player, but I played, then you played, and I played, then you played, and you just played for high school. Mm-hmm. You know, like Pac-Man and Defender. Yeah. Games like that. I love Defender.
I love Pac-Man.
Yeah, that's fun.
Pac-Man was just... I remember going to Pizza Hut on 66, and they had to sit down. You know what I'm talking about?
Did they have Pac-Man
with the ball?
or Miss Pac-Man?
Yeah, it was... it might have been Miss Pac-Man, but it was the sit-down table. You had one person who play over here, one person play in front of you.
Yeah.
And, it had the ball.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. That was the greatest.
Yeah, man. That Pac-Man was super fun. Do you remember the song? There was a song of Pac-Man Fever.
Pac-Man Fever?
Yeah, it's driving me crazy.
It's driving me crazy.
But, nothing had more quarters spent on it in the 1980s than Pac-Man. I can't imagine. It was amazing, wasn't it? I mean,
really
the whole country was just ate up with it, man.
It was such a cool game. They tried to make the movie. You remember that?
Yeah, that wasn't the best.
Yeah, they made the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and the reviews actually aren't horrible, but I don't get it. I don't get it enough to even want to watch it.
Right.
I like the game. Sonic, I remember, man, I wanted a Sega 16. Yeah.
This is a song.
that's right, man. I know that's right.
This is the first verse.
Okay. I mean, shit.
Yeah, so you get the idea. That was a group called Buckner and Garcia with Pac-Man Fever, and they
That was
they
their
never
one
did
hit?
Anything else? No.
Yeah, well, I get it. I get it.
But yeah, that was a big deal, man.
Yeah, man. I remember going to arcades, man. You were going to Haynes Mall, hanging out at the arcade.
Oh yeah, at Aladdin's Castle.
Aladdin's
I remember
Castle,
when
yeah.
there was it was called 2001, I think, and it was in downtown Kernersville.
I've never been to a Kernersville arcade.
Yeah, well, there was one there, and then there was one over off of Piney Grove Road in that, you know where Amalfi's is?
I do.
It was in the corner of that. You know how that's like a L shape?
Yeah.
It was in the corner that's attached to where the grocery store was. You know, there's another little side. It was a different restaurant there for a while too, or
Yeah.
something. But that was an arcade too for a little while. But the one downtown was cool, man. I was a little kid, had to get my damn folks to go with
No,
me.
I never been. I never got to visit that, man. You know.
It was still back then. It was still a lot of pinball, but you had.
You pretty good at
Pac-Man.
pinball?
Nah, I'm alright.
I like pinball.
I like it too. It's fun.
I love it.
I'm okay at it, I guess. Not terrible, but
You ever been to
we had
these adult?
asteroids
You been to the adult arcades
no,
yet?
I haven't. No.
Maybe once these times get more certain, we can head out, man. The one in Greensboro, I think they call it Boxcar. I went there with my buddy Bert Rob.
Oh yeah. I thought you meant like the real gambling joints.
No.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, like just a bar that's got video games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did go to one. Yeah, my buddy Brad Bunye's bachelor party. We went to that
Yeah.
one.
You know, a game that I used to love to play at the arcade, Street Fighter.
Street Fighter was fun, man.
Street Fighter. I like Street Fighter better than Mortal Kombat.
I did too.
I did.
I was like Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden North the heat,
sick.
man. Yeah, dude. When we, looking back, we didn't have it too bad growing up, huh?
No, we got a few real cool innovations came along right at the perfect time for us. Video games being the perfect one.
Sure.
you know?
I mean, we got to see the innovations like culture change, music change. Like when the Nintendo came out, you remember the Tandy?
yeah,
Commodore?
yeah.
I remember doing this, writing this code on Tandy 6000, whatever the hell it was. And dude, I typed in this entire freaking code, man. I mean, it was just relentless, all to make the screen light up and then like kind of sparkle, I literally worked 30 minutes to see that.
Right.
But it was pretty cool.
The first computer I ever sat down in front of when I was in elementary school, all it was black screen. It had a white turtle in the middle, and you could hit the directional buttons, and the turtle would move those buttons and leave a solid line behind him, and so you could draw solid line things. And that's all that they told us it could do.
Mm-hmm.
I thought,
Right.
well, that's neat that I can move this thing around on a screen because I've never seen anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's all this can do, it doesn't seem like much of a help to society.
Right, dude. We saw the internet born.
Yeah.
I was at East Forsyth, man, when we got on Prodigy, which one of the first servers,
Mm-hmm.
And I remember getting in the chat room and talking with the person, and come to find out they were in the other computer lab.
Oh, right.
Millions of people I could talk to. I'm talking to this asshole from Kernersville, but
That's funny.
chances of that,
Yeah, man. The internet has been a big change. I think about like how did we get places without GPS? Like we were good at reading folding maps.
Payphones,
Yeah.
man. I mean, Jesus.
I remember the TV going off at night.
Yes,
They play the national
that's right,
anthem.
children. The TV used to just stop.
Yeah.
Just like that's it, dude. Like I don't know what else you're not gonna do this anymore,
And if you can stare at a screen full of snow or
right?
a blue screen,
or the rainbow,
right? Yeah.
right?
That's
You know, Yeah, you're done.
It's over for tonight.
Right? You had to get up and turn that dial, count of 45. You know. Oh man, I miss those days, man. It was a simpler time, man. There were no coronaviruses back then either.
No, there wasn't even coronavirus.
I'm gonna blame the millennials.
No, they get blamed for everything.
They deserve this too.
I don't know, man. I got a feeling that every generation thinks that about the generation behind them, and I think maybe given an opportunity to step up, they might surprise us, man.
Well, they're gonna have to, man, because they are the future.
Right. Certainly got to pull for them.
Yeah. Well, man, been at it about an hour and 15, man. So let's roll this thing together, man. Anything that you've been watching that is noteworthy?
Other than once again, Finders Keepers is a thing that you really ought to see, man.
Yeah,
that's something else. But no, just more concerts and things, live stuff. Nothing really overly special. Haven't seen anything that really blew my mind.
Okay.
But how about you? You've seen
man, I've been watching Schitt's Creek. Eugene Levy and his son Daniel Levy wrote and directed this on CBC, which is a Canadian television network. It takes place in Schitt's Creek. It's about a family who live really high on the hog, and Eugene Levy's business partner screwed him over, didn't pay taxes, and IRS and Fed seized everything. And as a joke, he bought this town called Schitt's Creek. So they end up moving there. And it's pretty funny, man. Eugene Levy is freaking awesome, dude.
He is, man.
He's awesome.
I liked him. I always liked him because I got to see him in a few things just because I was a Fred Willard guy.
Okay.
You know, and he was in a lot of stuff with Fred Willard. He's in that Best in Show.
Yeah.
That's a funny movie.
That's
man.
funny.
It cracks me up.
It's ridiculously funny.
It is, man.
It's like stupid funny.
The Fred Willard parts where he's commentating the dog show.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Because he does. It's like he's never seen a dog before. Any breed. He doesn't know anything about them. You know, he doesn't know the first thing.
If you hadn't checked that out, do so, man. That is great. That's great. That's a great movie, man. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Remember him in that?
Absolutely.
One of my favorite lines is when they were on the back of the truck, him and John Candy, and they're freezing their balls off, and he goes, "Man, it certainly is cold out here, man. What do you think the temperature is?" I don't know. 2. I mean, it's so simple, but it was a great line, man.
Yeah, man, that was a funny movie. I like that. We watched some of the best of Rodney Dangerfield the other night, and we got down that rabbit hole. We started watching some other guys too, you know.
Yeah, I love that.
We started watching the old school Dean Martin roasts.
Oh, okay.
Of all crazy famous people and stuff. So that's been pretty fun, you know. Because we ran out. We actually didn't finish the Andy Griffiths because Rachel was so turned off when it turned to color, and Barney was no longer on it.
Well, I get that.
Yeah,
Barney Fife was the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, no, It's
just not as funny. It really isn't. It's not. It's the stories aren't as heartwarming, and it's not as
good.
What
happened there? Why did he leave the show?
I forget, man. I heard one at one point, but I think it was to go and do movies. I mean, because he started doing movies with Tim Conway and the Apple Dumpling Gang and Private Eyes, movies like that, and The Incredible Mr. Limpet. So I think he went on to better things.
Bigger and better things in his mind.
Don Knotts had a big career.
Yeah.
He really did. He was on Scooby-Doo. He was on all kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah, he was.
Pretty neat, man. Pretty neat. Indeed.
Yeah, man. Well, man, I guess that's it, boys and girls. As always, man, you know where to find us anywhere.
Hey, man, let's say this right before we cut off, man.
Sure.
Just from the Nobles and the Pinhead show, I like to say our condolences to a buddy of ours, Derek Cruz, we've thrown darts with for a while, and he just lost his mother, Darlene, who was a good friend, one of the most fun people that you could ever play a game of darts with, as long as you're not easily offended.
A great Tar Heel fan.
Well, absolute Tar Heel fan. She was just a one-of-a-kind human being. She didn't live her life with a filter, and she lived her life as hard as she could and the way she wanted to. And I'm sure that she's doing the same things that she wanted to right now.
Rest in peace, darling. That's pretty sad, man. You told me that earlier, man, and it stunned me. Anytime the Hills ever had any type of success, whether it was just a win or a championship, no matter what it was, one of the first people to reply to a post that I would make would be her.
Oh, which I immediately, whenever Carolina beat Duke, immediately I get a text from Darlene.
Yeah.
You know, and I get a text from her for a lot of things, but we had, I probably threw darts with Darlene. I'd say easily 100 times. She used to come in the tavern a lot during the day, and I'd throw darts with her.
Didn't she run into the tavern one time?
She absolutely did, with her car.
Yeah, I remember
ran into the building. Darlene was off the hook, bud.
Right.
I mean, if salty words hurt your ears,
you didn't want me around there.
Darlene wasn't going to be your favorite, but as long as you had a little thick skin on you, she's a sweetheart. And
absolutely.
And just super fun person to play with, very humble person. She wasn't a chest beater and look at me kind of person at all. But
no, she was a great person.
Yeah, man. Rest in peace, Darlene.
Absolutely, man. So with that said, man, again, you know where to find us. Anywhere you can stream podcasts, we'll be there. Also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the IG. For my man Pinhead, this is your boy Reggie Noble saying, stay 6 feet away, people.
Peace.
Peace.
That was good.